Welcome to Aqua Talks, where marketing meets bold, game-changing ideas. Join your hosts, Larry Aldrich and Maddie Dudley, as they explore the art and science of cutting through the noise, capturing attention, and fostering meaningful connections with your audience. Whether you're a destination marketer, government contractor, or simply passionate about the transformative power of marketing, Aqua Talks offers engaging discussions, fresh insights, and actionable strategies designed to inspire and inform.
Hi, and welcome back to Aqua Talks, the podcast for marketers, whether you're just getting started in the marketing industry or you are a pro or an expert. My name is Maddie Dudley. I am the Public Relations Director for Aqua Marketing and Communications, and this is a podcast brought to you by Brensis Technology, LLC. I'm joined by my co-host, Larry Aldrich.
Hello, I'm Larry Aldrich, President, CEO of Aqua Marketing Communications and Brensis Technology, LLC. Today we're joined with Dees, our copywriter editor with Aqua Marketing and Brensis. How are you today, Dave? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, it's great to be here. Looking forward to sharing some insights and information with everybody, and you can fire away, let those questions roll.
Well, thanks for working with us, Dave. You do a lot of great work with a lot of your writing and your editing. So first, let's just start off with tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell everyone else a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Dave Dees. I'm a copywriter and brand storyteller, originally from New York City before relocating to Florida. I've been in the business about 15 years, and before joining Brensis, I created campaigns for General Motors and Denny's restaurants and Seagram Americas and the U.S. Army and Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, and to name just a few. Earlier in my career, I was working at one of the largest multicultural ad agencies in New York, Chisholm Mingo Group. And there I was helping brands connect authentically with diverse audiences through print, broadcast, outdoor, and digital campaigns. And also beyond commercial advertising, I also enjoy mission-driven storytelling. I have experience working in the nonprofit sector with United Way, and as well as Christianacare, which is one of Delaware's largest healthcare systems, doing a lot of health-related work for them. And that's basically about it. My style of writing blends strategic clarity with human emotion, and at the end of the day, we want to get people to act. So I use those two things to kind of bring those two things together to move the needle, as they say.
Yeah. Well, I believe, there's so much talk about AI in a lot of our episodes too. A lot of people talk about AI as a trend, but there's this argument of it'll take marketers' jobs, but I believe the opposite. I think empathy and being human first is going to get us much further. And you kind of expressed that with your sort of writing style. Are there any other trends that you're seeing within the industry right now that you want to bring up?
Right. Yeah. AI definitely, it gives you variations and things, but I think at the end of the day, you have to have that human connection. And you only get that by talking to people and interacting with people. I did a campaign once for Christianacare. It was a cancer awareness campaign, and I spoke with a lot of the cancer patients and people like that went through their whole cancer program actually to get well. And one of the people I spoke with said, a woman, an African American woman, she spoke and she said, "Cancer picked the wrong diva." And she had that was a great line. And I created a whole kind of campaign, just cancer picked the wrong diva. It was her attitude. You're not going to get that from AI. You're not going to get that.
I love that.
No one's going to give you that. You have to stay in touch with human emotion and people. One thing when I was working at the multicultural agency in New York, the owner, Sam Chisholm, who's one of the pioneers in multicultural advertising, he used to say you have to reach the head, you have to touch the heart. And that was sort of the theme of the entire agency. And we used to find these authentic little pieces and things, or things people say, or how they phrase things to wrap a campaign around so that you can resonate with an audience, whether it's African American or Latin or general market. You need that. You need that. But I remember when that woman said, cancer picked the wrong diva, I said, oh my God. And you have to, you're listening for things like that to pick up on those types of things. AI will never give you that.
Even with AI, I still think it's about how you use it, know how to use it.
Right.
When you use it, and whatever topic you're using it for or technology, you have to have an expert in that field managing the prompts and the edits.
Sure. Exactly. And you have to interact with it also, yes, and push it. It's almost like I feel like I'm a creative director when I'm working with it, because it's like, okay, I got a team of copywriters out here, AI, and they're going to be feeding me all of this stuff, and you have to interact with it at that level. And how about try like, and that's the way I do it. How about try like this? I like what you did here, but what about this? Why don't we try this? Why don't we use a rhyme? Why don't we use something? And you try to interact with it almost like you're talking to people. And that's what they want us to do, actually, I think, is interact with robots in the future. And this is the way it's going to be. You have to, the more polite you are to it, it responds better than just giving it commands and things like that. So all of that is part of the process.
You have to really hone in more on your editorial skills at that point then, and really being like a creative director of the storytelling. So that's really cool. Right. Some of the, did you have something to say to that?
Well, as far as another thing as far as technology goes, QR codes also is a big thing, I think, also. And that helps, I think, just getting a bigger message out there. And I think that's an important part of advertising as well now, just dropping QR codes, whether it's in a brochure or an ad or a billboard, or it kind of creates this seamless cross-channel experience, and it's interactive and engaging, and people can get more information. You can get them to your website and get information out there.
Right. Yeah. I love that. So you have worked with some really big brands, as you mentioned. One that stands out, though, is Royal Caribbean. Tell us a little bit about Royal Caribbean's Destination Wow and what you had to do with it.
Right. Yeah. Royal Caribbean. I started working with them at an agency up in New York before joining them in Florida. And I worked on a broad range of projects with them, from brochures to broadcast. When you think of a cruise line, they're not only reaching out to people taking a vacation. There's a whole there's trade shows that they want on board the ship. They want people to book trade shows. They want people to book weddings on board the ship. So you have all these different things going on, business to business as well as business to consumer. And I was writing brochures hitting all those different sectors for whether it be broadcast, it was digital campaigns, emails, even a simple reminder not to throw garbage off the side of the ship. There was messaging nonstop. So you go into this business thinking you're doing all this fancy television and all this stuff. We need a message to people not to throw garbage off the ship. Okay, there we go.
It's important.
It's important. That's all part of the whole ecological and keeping everyone, keeping the oceans free of garbage and everything. So people have to be reminded of just simple things like that. So that was. But one thing great about working for a cruise line, you get to work in so many different industries. It exposes you to casinos, restaurants, water parks, beverages, wine and spirits, and hotel operations and shore excursions and Broadway theater. So you're marketing all of that stuff on a daily weekly basis, all of those different sectors. Shore excursions alone, I wrote hundreds of shore excursion scripts because people, of course, when you get to all these destinations, whether it be in the Mediterranean or in the Caribbean and Asia, all over the world, Middle East, there are all these different shore excursions people can take. So you're constantly running those type of videos in the cabins on board the ship so people know exactly what's happening in the next port of call. And you want to keep those fresh and exciting and interesting also and compelling. So you're always coming up with ideas and things that, so.
With all of that diversity and different writing that you've been doing for all of these different industries, and I still bring one that you haven't done yet with Brensis and the federal government. So you've been working with Aqua, doing great there. Now you're learning and seeing some federal work, some federal writing, some federal projects with the VA that we work with. And now you're looking at different types of healthcare and veteran healthcare, all the different federal agencies and all the different projects and missions that they have. It's almost like opening a whole new world. Working with those in all those other industries, does that make it feel a little less intimidating for you to go into a whole new genre of writing and editing and seeing words?
Not at all.
Excuse me.
Not at all, because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to communicate with people, and I love the challenge of doing that. Whether it's with a veteran, trying to get health care or get benefits or something like that, or someone trying to book a cruise and for their family. I mean, the challenge it's more in the creativity of coming up with a way to reach those folks and bring them into what we want to get them to take action at the end of the day. So that to me has always been the challenge.
Yeah.
And it's very competitive. I know in New York, we used to, when I was working out in Seagram Americas, which had Crown Royal and all these different alcoholic beverages, Canadian whiskey and stuff, they used to call my partner and I the Booze Brothers because we used to do all of these liquor ads all day. There would be 3 teams of people working on just one Christmas ad for Crown Royal, and we would be doing that all summer. Just one Christmas ad that would be running on out of home and all these things, and it was. The budgets are insane on all of that stuff, but they'd have 3 creative teams plus a creative director and his assistant would be working on that same thing as well. So you're competing. I love the competition. I love that, getting into that whole competitive thing. That's what's always kind of going through my head, even when I'm working on and not competing at that level. I don't care. I'm still trying to get the best work out there because that's sort of my background and training, and you just kill it out there. And get people to take action.
Yeah, absolutely. So what advice do you have for copywriters who are just getting started?
You write long, write a lot, and then you cut it down, and then you cut again. You want to keep things as tight and concise as possible, because, I know in New York, everything was there's so many messages coming at you all day. And when you're in that environment, you have to be quick, bold, call to actions have to be tight and everything. So you're competing. And that's the way it is even on the internet and everywhere now. So, and on your cell phone, all of that stuff is coming at you. So you got to be tight, quick. When I used to do billboards, they used to say they were only 11 words, I think, was the maximum you can put on a billboard on a highway. And you would have to kind of boil down the entire whatever you're saying into 11 words. I think today it's even faster now with the internet and cell phone. Everything. It's probably 5 or 6 words, and that's all you get. and you got to make those words hot and get people excited with those. I would also tell people, copyright, to understand who the target audience is. That's the first thing I look at whenever I take on a project. Who is this target audience? I think the best brands know who their audience is. Royal Caribbean definitely knew who their audience was, how much money they earned a year, how they defined a vacation, and just all of that information. The more you know about your audience, the more you can fine tune and create advertising that connects with people. So if you surveys, you have to do surveys and get information like that to the creative team so that we can look at things like that. Because all of that, we're not in this just to create beautiful ads and fun copy and all this kind of stuff. The stuff has to work at the end of the day. Otherwise, clients will find another agency that's going to get people to call the phone number, click on the button, click learn more. All of that's the goal at the end of the day. No one's doing that, and when you just have all these beautiful ads that even award-winning ads don't necessarily always click with the population. Yep. And we were doing stuff with, I believe, Pensacola and all these different Florida destinations, and we were reaching out to people in Alabama, for instance. So Alabama is going to be different than Florida. It's going to be different than New York. It's, if you're going to put a billboard on a highway in Alabama, you better kind of get to know who Alabama is and what they value and the language that they like and that appeals to them and their lingo or whatever. So you have to constantly do deep dives into, and that's what keeps advertising interesting and fun, I think, is you're always learning the cultures. The United States everybody speaks English, but it's almost like Europe with all these different cultures and different ways people use the English language and their backgrounds, if they grew up in rural parts of the United States and compared to cities. It's a whole different, when you start driving across the United States, it's a whole basket of different target audiences out there. Yeah. So that's what I would tell new copywriters. Definitely know who your target audience is and be willing to learn and be curious. Keep your mind open to learning about Indians. It's not just one big American people. It's a lot of different cultures out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, couldn't agree more.
And also that when you hand it as far as getting a creative brief, make sure the client is on board with all of these things as well. Otherwise, you'll have a moving target. You have to sometimes you just nail clients down and get them to agree to certain, but nail down. And that's one thing great that we do at Princess Aqua. We get the clients involved at the very early part of this whole process, so that and walk them through the whole what we're going to do to solve their problem. And once you have buy-in at that level and everybody knows what we're doing, then we can start, not wasting time.
Once you know your audience and understand your audience, do you have a creative checklist for effective destination marketing?
I like to have one clear idea, a single line everyone can repeat. Coming up with a tagline or a headline or whether it rhymes, whether it's a fun line, whether it's, it has to it has to match the tone of the brand, basically. And that's what I did with Royal Caribbean, with Destination Wow. When they owned that word wow before I came to them, and I just kind of turned it into a sort of a tagline, Destination Wow. And basically what you were doing with that, it all started with one insight. Guests weren't buying a trip, they were buying a feeling. And wow is a feeling. Destination Wow became like a global rallying cry, simple enough to work across 40 different countries and powerful enough to transform how the brand talked about itself. So you've got wow with the ice skating show, wow in the dining halls, in the specialty restaurants, wow with shore excursions, you got wow with family activities. There were all these different wows. So I kind of came up with I kind of packaged it as Destination Wow. And that's how that all occurred, which was really exciting because that turned into television, of course, and radio, and you could use destination wow on so many different things.
So how do you take an idea, a big idea, and sell it to a cautious client?
Let's see. I like to first, after you know the audience and the goals of the client and what their problem is and how we're going to solve it, I like to present 3 versions of an idea. And I do that a lot of times, and that's what I do always work. Tom, our creative director, who's an amazing creative director, I always send him a variety of thinking, not just one. And that thinking is going to be safe. It's going to be a little bit of a stretch, and then it's going to be bold. And I learned that kind of in New York, I think. A lot of the advertising, that's what our creative directors have always requested. I want to see something safe because you never know who the client's going to be. Sometimes these people just want to pay their bills and go home and not really put a lot of. So you have to have a safe option, which is, all right, this is expected. Okay, all right. Then you have to have something a little that pushes it out there a little bit more. And then you want to go bold, crazy. And that's the fun. I like to go out of the whole realm and push it and see how far we can go just to create reaction, because you got to create disturbance out here. There's a lot of people have come in, like I said before, people are hitting you with so many different messages and everything that if you're going to be reserved and safe, sometimes you can get lost in the sauce. So it depends on the personality of the client also. But I like to have 3 different ideas going in. One that's safe, one that's a little more of a stretch, and one that's bold.
I love that. And then you can just combine them too at a certain point.
Sure. Sometimes they'll go with something bold. Sometimes they'll go with something fun and humorous. Also, I like to do visual, quick visual mock-ups just so that they can see it. And sometimes, and that's what I do with Tom sometimes, the creative director. I'll send him, some of these things, and I'll just create a quick little visual or something like that with the line and what it's doing, and then they can show it to a client. So a client can instantly get it. It's not the actual ad, but they can actually kind of put it all together when they see a visual with the line, and that helps also.
Wonderful. I think our last question for you is about a campaign that you have done recently, or not even recently. What is a campaign or project that you've worked on that you're very proud of, or maybe something you've seen that you think is amazing?
Oh, wow. Well, let's see. A recent one, working with Brensis, we've worked on Pensacola International Airport. They're going through this major terminal expansion at the airport, and there's going to be a lot of construction. It's going to take a lot of time. And they were concerned. They wanted to help travelers understand how temporary disruptions would lead to long-term improvements. They wanted to build community confidence as they went through this major expansion, and so I kind of came up with a line, a campaign theme: growing with you, for you, and that got into portraying progress as a community benefit. So. The campaign, and basically what we did, we transformed everyday travel moments into signs of progress, from moving faster between curb and gate with more gates, so new parking options, and we got into new additional dining choices. We kind of focused on what the reward was going to be for this disruption, and so we wanted to remind and emphasize the advantages of this expansion, even though it's going to be very disruptive and everything. But look where we're going in the future. And last I heard, the results were doing very well. They increased their passenger growth going through Pensacola over other regional airlines in that area by like 100,000 people in a year. So people,
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So people, I think they got the message. It went from, I think, 3 million to 3.1 million people. So people understood what they were doing, and it built a lot of pride, community pride in that airport by doing that, and showing the workers also, and keeping everybody hopeful and happy going through that airport, and where they're going to go, the future with the experiences improve passenger experience and everything. So that was great.
And congratulations to our client, Pensacola International Airport.
Thank you for that.
That they did reach record-breaking passenger numbers, as Dave mentioned. So congrats on being a part of that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a part of that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Growing with you, for you. Yeah. But again, when I was concepting lines for that project, I was, again, I was going into giving safe lines, things a little more stretch, more fun and exciting and bold and everything. Again, it depends on the client, and you like to give them a choice at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that everybody in that room feels comfortable buying into whatever line the company is the client's going to use. And you just want to cover off on all of that. So that's the line that they embraced. One of the three that I guess we had presented to them. So
it's a great one, and it's accurate.
Right, sure. And it can work on a billboard. It's quick and fast. not a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Says a lot with a little. Yeah, that's what makes you so good at your job.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Keep things.
Wordsmith.
That's what I said. Fast. That's it. That's New York. Fast. Everything's got to be fast. I don't have time. Time's money.
Yep. Well, this has been a lovely discussion, Dave.
Thanks for being with us.
Thank you so much for joining the podcast today.
All right.
And thanks for everything you do with Aqua and Brensis.
All right. Great to share some insights and some of my experience. So thank you for having me.
If you would like to learn more about Dave Dees or Aqua, please go to aquatalks.com and look for this episode. We'll have some show notes in there and details about Dave and about us as a company. So go check us out there. But in the meantime, we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've been listening to Aqua Talks, where marketing innovation takes center stage with bold ideas and actionable insights. Ready to take your strategies to the next level? Visit aquatalks.com to book your free consultation and explore resources that empower you to thrive in today's fast-paced marketing world. Until next time, stay bold, stay inspired, stay imaginative.